Oh,
Hi, Vlog.
okay.
Oh, just kidding.
What's up? Another Banana Talk pod. Today we got myself, Liana, Athena, and Marcel.
This is just like the usual crew for now, man.
Yeah.
Because like
It
nobody
really
else
is.
cares about the
We got, like,
podcast.
people.
I'm
Yeah,
fine with
because
that.
nobody else cares.
Alright. Um, so I have three different ones. They're all kind of like a little bit more deep and not like joke or whatever. So I'll start with like the most like not heavy one. Um, the first two kind of are like similar, but so I have a question. Do you think that our generation's idea of love is like messed up?
I feel like
And if so, why?
Ooh.
that's hard, but I feel like to an extent it is because
I
you
feel
think
like it
about
is.
like the older generations, like you had to actually like take someone out on a date and like get to know them
Yeah.
first. But now like you can say you love someone with them showing like the bare minimum to you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like
Yeah.
I
I
feel
think
like a lot of people in our generation like see dating and like being in love as short term rather than like in older generations it was like you would like date and then that would be the person you were like gonna marry, or like start a life with. Like now it's like very like
I think
short.
when I was thinking about it, I kind of felt like um I look at my grandparents and like my great grandparents and like their marriages or whatever, and it's like older generations are the like obviously they're gonna like have longer relationships because they're older just by default. But I see like all these grandparents are like, yeah, we've been together strong for like 50 years, and they're like really cute, and like the spark is still there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that for people in our generation, like not very um loyal people sometimes. Like we'll date around and we'll be talking to multiple people at the same time just to like see what we like. And I think that like I don't know, cause back then it was like you found someone that you started dating and you were talking to like only them and you get to know each other really well, right? And even if there were like those hard or like awkward moments, you would stick it out. Like now, whenever like a small inconvenience pops up, I feel like for our generation, like if something small pops up, they'll just end it and then move on to the next person. And it's like you're not really giving it time to like um get better. Because I feel like what makes a relationship strong is knowing that you can get through those like arguments together or those hard times together. And once you made it out, like you're stronger.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel
with
like
that.
also like when I go Marcel,
No,
go.
I was just saying, I agree. Go at me.
Wait, what?
Hello.
Hello.
I was just saying that I agreed with like what both Rihanna and Aiden were saying, but I said you go talk.
What, guys? What's happening? I can't hear Marcel. I think I'm like broken.
Marcel,
What did
I
you
didn't hear
say?
anything you said. Sorry.
Dude, what is wrong with Marcel's mic?
Everyone else be quiet. Everyone else be quiet. Everyone else be
Wait,
quiet.
can you guys not hear me?
It's like cutting out.
Yeah, it's cutting out like really.
Oh no! Wait, should I leave and rejoin?
Oh wait, it's better.
Wait,
Okay,
it's
just
better
just
like
go
that.
on. Just go on. We'll just be quiet.
I was saying Athena, go on.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, I feel like also, like when you asked that question, I kind of thought about like the music aspect of it too,
That's what I
because
was thinking.
nowadays, like, music and love is kind of like they talk about is like sex and stuff. And then like back in the days, like, they actually like told stories about like falling in love with someone, and I can kind of tell the difference between love with music too.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe like social media has like a big thing to do with that too. Cause like
Mhm.
back then, obviously, like if you were in love with someone, like you would show it in real life, you know? But like a lot of times, like people can be like saying, oh, they're in love, and then they'll be like posting and stuff, but then like, you know, it's just like not
Mhm.
the same.
Mhm.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like I
And
don't know if that was explained really well, but I just feel like social media plays like an aspect. Like people will like respond to your story and be like, "Oh, are you guys like dating?" Like whatever. And like in real life, people can just like be like, "Oh, you can tell those people are like in love and stuff," or like
Mhm.
that.
mhm. Yeah, and I just feel like gestures
Also,
too. Like way back then, I feel like they put like so much more thought and effort into like showing their love and like always like I don't
Yeah.
know walking them like to the house like every single day or like like greeting them in the morning with like flowers or something and then like doing all those like cute little like lovey-dovey stuff and like now
Hmm.
like technology people are mainly just like texting and stuff or like calling
Yeah.
and they're not showing like all that unless it's like mainly like special occasions.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Like you can easily text someone like I love you, but like back then, you had to say it like straight to their face. And like, you could obviously tell if somebody truly means it when you're like saying it to them.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I think like back to the social media part, like no one's perfect, right? So I think that like what we do see with people on social media is they put the best of themselves out there, or like the parts that they want other people to see out there. People can see that. And then when people look into their own lives or their own relationships or whatever, and they see like a flaw in their partner, it's kind of just like you see all these people who seem to be perfect like everywhere else. So it's like I think that makes it harder because it makes you kind of or makes some people be like, oh, like why isn't my significant other like that, or like why isn't my relationship like theirs?
Yeah.
And it's kind of just like it ruins it.
Hmm.
Okay, and then the second question I had kind of related to that was um I don't know. Well, I have written down, do you think you're old-fashioned? I don't really think that's what I was trying to say. I think I'm trying to say like, okay, maybe I'm trying to like super old-fashioned, but do you think that you're more like traditional in that sense?
Like in sense of like love or
Yeah,
mm,
like what you want in
mm,
the future for yourselves.
like what do you mean old fashioned? Like
Like,
just like what do you mean?
do you think like your idea of what you want is similar to a lot of other people your age?
Like in a partner?
Mhm. Like, do you think that what you want or like what um your ideal situation would be is similar to a lot of other girls your age?
Uh,
I think a lot of people our age like probably want the same thing. Like
Mhm.
they probably all wanna, eventually like maybe not get married, but be with whoever, with someone they love, and I feel like that's
Mm.
like a pretty general idea of what everybody wants, like modern day and old fashioned, I think. But the way people get there is like different, like the whole dating around situation, that's like newer in a sense, but it's also like the end goal is pretty you know common amongst like old fashioned and new fashion,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm.
'Cause I feel like when people like date someone, it's like most of the time it's not like they're like, oh, I want to date them and then just break up with them and like, move on. Like obviously, if you date someone, it's like you want to try to be with them as like long as possible. But I feel like it just depends on like if that person is like thinking like way into the future or just like living in the moment and not really realizing like how far things could go or not.
Well, can we differentiate the two? Just like so, like I don't know, like what do you guys like when you think of old-fashioned love? What do you think about like how different it is?
I think it's more innocent and wholesome than it is today.
Yeah.
So like, is it different ways of like showing affection?
Or maybe I think it's just I don't know if it is, or maybe it just seems like that because people back then were just more like they were less what's the word?
I feel like people back then were more conservative with their love, because people now will like, well, okay, think about it.
People now will explicitly say what they want. I don't think people did that back then.
Yeah, like, yeah, I feel like that's
Or a little bit
too, and
or
like
a
people
little bit more
share a lot.
risque.
Yeah, people share a lot too now. Like, I don't know back then, like if people were telling their friends like their whole personal lives, and also you have to take in consideration like a lot of the ideas back then. Like I was thinking about this because a push on Friday. Not to talk about that, but Mr. Gold was talking about how like if you like got pregnant as a teenager, like
Oh,
that was
that.
a sin to your family, or like you just brought shame to your family. And I feel like that's not more acceptable. Okay, to an extent, that's more acceptable these days. Like obviously, it's not like
I think it is.
yeah. I mean, it is for sure. Like teen pregnancy is way more common, but like obviously, there's going to be those people who are like still have like older views about it, but it's like things like that, like saving yourself for marriage and stuff, like that's what kind of like held the innocence of old fashioned love, because if you don't have like that aspect in your relationship, like you're more like focusing on the other
Ooh,
aspects of your relationship.
I think I have
You know?
something. Like I think when I think about it is like I feel like people used to know each other, date, and it was kind of like a slower thing where it was like you are kind of in a relationship but you're best friends at the same time. And now I feel like and then once you get really close is like when all the serious stuff start happening, right? Because then at that point you're like really comfortable with each other. But now I think it's reversed, where it's like people just want to like have the quick fun first, like hook up or whatever, and then they'll get to know the person afterward. And that's why people are breaking up so much, is because they do that first, and then they find out that that person isn't really what they want, and then they'll move on to the next person and do the same thing. So I think that like old fashioned is more like innocent because like you're actually like with that person because you genuinely like their presence and like them as a person, so like what they can do for you. would you guys consider yourself older fashion? Or I don't know if that's the question, but like different from most people
Not like the other
your
girls.
generation.
We're not like the other girls.
Other girl.
Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I would say that because, like, I'm not gonna like the whole idea you were saying, like how back then it would be like you would just get to know each other. Like, I feel like that's something I personally would value more, getting to know someone and just like being their best friend, than moving into that stuff. Because, like you said, you know, that leads to breakups. And like, I've said this before, but like, obviously, you're not like gonna marry, and not everybody's gonna marry their high school, whatever. But like, in the end, everybody's goal is to like have a life with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, you're looking for that person and not just dating to date someone. Like, if you're already planning to break up, then
Why are you in that
that
relationship in
shouldn't
the
be a
first place?
relationship. Like, you should not even have that idea before you date someone.
Yeah, epic.
Oh yeah, I really was gonna answer, but yeah, I agree with that. Like, I feel like my values are more lean towards like, as you said, like getting to know the person better, and like not just dating for fun, but actually like trying to look for that person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. Cause it's not like I want to date someone and then like have to deal with the heartbreak. Like I want to try to avoid
Yeah.
that.
Exactly.
Do you think there's some people that are like that? Because like when I think about it, like I feel like most people are like that, but do you think there's like a lot of people that will be like, oh, I want to date just so I can like feel the heartbreak, or like just to date for fun or
Some
something?
people do say, and I think I like kind of half agree with it. It's like some people say that there's certain things in life that you need to experience, and like they'll help you learn stuff. Like you can't learn other ways. And like heartbreak and grief is like one of those. I think I do agree. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone, but after someone goes through it, I feel like I don't know. It teaches you a lot.
I didn't think of it like that, but I kind of like that. I like thinking because it's like whenever like people go through like heartbreaks, it's like I always like notice it's like, oh, like they're like seems like they're in pain and then they come back stronger, and it's like they learn a lot from like previous relationships and like
Yeah.
grow from it.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, like you guys are saying, like sometimes the only way you can grow in like certain areas is by experiencing that. And like there's nothing else that would compare, because it's like a whole different type of, like, yeah, I mean, like losing someone in your life, like a friend or something, but I feel like that's like a different complex.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, what are you doing?
Oh, me?
What are you doing?
I'm drawing my hands.
Oh. Um. Yeah, I think. Sorry, what were we talking about?
It's about heartbreak.
Want to just go to the next question?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think that um, yeah, it's always like how you see um, like a couple breaks up, and then after some time, after some tears, they come back
Yeah.
blown up.
Yeah.
I feel like it teaches you a lot about yourself too.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
while you're in a relationship, you become really selfless and like for that other person that um especially if it's toxic and then it ends, kind of are able to see like a lot of stuff about yourself.
Hmm.
Did anyone else have anything they want to talk about? I have another one, but I might want to get to that a little later.
I have a question for you. Okay, so this is something that I talked um I talked about with my mom on our podcast. We were talking about like, would you guys do you guys think you would be friends with your parents if they were your age right now?
Hell nah.
No,
No, I feel like
would
we
You don't
not.
think
wouldn't
you
get
would be
along.
friends?
I
just
feel
no. We would not fall into any of the same like.
I feel like I'm at like a different dynamic with my parents that even if I was like, or even if they were the same age as me, I wouldn't be able to like connect to them in like a friend way as I do with like my friends I have right now, like you guys.
For me, 'cause my mom was really different in high school than she is now. So knowing that, I feel like I would have mutual friends between us, but we would never like hang out one-on-one.
Yeah, I think like I wouldn't even like. They would just be my peers, like at school. Like
Yeah.
my parents were very different, when they were in high school. Like different from me, and different how they are now. So
Okay,
like,
say you're like a okay, yeah, but say you're like a different person, all right? Would you be friends like with yourself? Do you think you would be friends with yourself, or no?
Hell yeah.
mm,
I don't know.
Because like I don't know, I feel like I
Nah.
would be. I feel like I would
Nah.
be best friends with myself.
Hell nah.
Like-
I would hate myself. I would. Yeah.
I would just
I would
probably
think-
be like really annoyed by myself.
Yeah. I would think I would be annoying, and I would actually like. I think I would fight myself if I went to the same school as myself. I feel like I would fight myself.
No, I
I would
think I
hate
just
them.
like find myself like just really annoying and like not want to be near myself, like I'll be nice to me, but like don't think we're friends, I mean,
Who does this guy think he is?
I don't know. Like I was talking to my mom about it, and she was like telling me like, "Oh, like I think you would be friends with yourself," and I don't know. I think it's because like a lot of what like I am or like who I am is what I also look for in a friend, which is probably why I find like aspects of myself in all of my friends. Like friends that I have, I find a lot of like traits about myself too, which is kind of cool. So I think I would be friends with myself.
I don't know.
I feel.
If it's like,
I
oh wait, go on.
I feel like, especially if I was like younger, and I went to school with myself, I would bully myself. Like
Yes.
bad, like mean.
I don't know why. It's like, if I were to be like friends like with myself, like let's say like a whole like clone of myself, I feel like I just get bored. Cause like there's nothing new,
You think
or
you're
like
boring?
or like I don't have like different opinions on things if like I just agree with like everything that like my other self agrees with, and it's like I don't get like a broader perspective of things.
Oh,
I don't know.
that makes sense. I think like I'm almost the opposite of you, Athena.
I would.
I feel like I like surround myself with people that are not like me. Like, I don't know. I feel like yeah, we have like
Same.
stuff in common, but like I just feel like sometimes like I can be polar off, because like that kind of goes like with the whole like pessimistic, realist, optimistic thing, because like I've been told that I'm pessimistic apparently, and I feel like you guys aren't, or sometimes some of you
He said
aren't.
sometimes.
So like obviously I don't want to surround myself like too real or too negative, and I feel like that can kind of be me sometimes. But we're also the like delusional realist. Like that's like a really bad complex, and I feel like that could be me sometimes. So, yeah, I probably wouldn't be friends with myself. I just get like really annoyed, just
Okay.
like bothered by myself.
I was thinking about what Marcel was saying, and I can see that happening because we're the same person, so our ideas would be the same, which would get boring. But I feel like I'm the type of person who like starts debates for fun, so I would always argue with myself, even if I agree
Yeah.
with his point.
Yeah, no, that would be cool too.
Or just be like, but if I look in it from the perspective of the other side, I can see how this, just argue with myself.
Yeah,
That's why I would hate myself.
yeah. That, and I feel like myself would say like really like out of pocket things about people, and then myself would agree, and that's just like really toxic. So yeah, I don't know. That wouldn't be a good friendship. What?
It's so awkward when there's nothing else to say.
Actually, wait. Sorry, I want to say one thing. Actually, the only reason I would like be is I'd always be down to like go out. You know what I mean? Or like I would get
If you have
myself.
someone.
I'd be like, when I say I don't want to go home, and then or I don't want to like hang up, and then you guys like leave the call or like have to go home. Like I wouldn't have to, so I would just hang out with
Okay.
myself all the
Okay,
time.
okay, wait. Would you, if you were transformed into the opposite gender, you date yourself?
I was talking about this today with one of my friends.
I think I wouldn't.
I think I would.
I think I'd
If
going
we
to
both know, what we want, and it's like there's none of that time in normal relationships where you guys are kind of like walking on eggshells around each other trying to figure out what each other is comfortable with. If we both want the same things, we'll just get straight into it and it'll be so epic.
Yeah. Yeah, in that sense, it would be really cool because like myself would understand me really well.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
they'd like. I mean, if I was like opposite gender, like I feel like we're living the same lifestyle, right? Like it's not just my traits, like it's everything. Or like is it
Oh, yeah, that would be epic because we share the same hobbies, so it's
yeah,
like,
you have the same hobbies,
let's
you
go
get to
do
hang
this
out like all the
together.
time. And then when I get like my social battery drained, that person's social battery is also drained. So it's like they understand that.
Nah, dog. I feel like I would be around them 24/7. I don't care.
I don't know
I
why.
get tired
I
of
feel like
myself.
I just like want like, or I wouldn't want to be with myself, cause it's like,
What?
I don't know.
Myself.
No, like, cause you know how the question was like, if you were like the opposite gender, like, would you be with them, right?
Hmm?
Yeah, I don't know why, but I feel like a lot of like what I look into is like kind of like things that like I don't see in myself, and it's like I don't know. And like as you said with like hobbies, I was just thinking it's like if you do like all the things that you both do, you guys like I feel like there's not really that like person to like be like, "Oh, let's do like this since I like it," even though you don't like it, to get like an idea or like, like on a more open mind or like have more experiences. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I also feel like the opposite because like say you want to try something out and then you know how you have that person who's like, "No, I don't want to do that. Like I really don't want to do that." But with yourself and like,
Me too,
you're
too.
comfortable with
Yeah.
that or like you're like, "Oh yeah, that's something I want to try too." Then you both get to have a new experience. Then it's not
Mhm.
just like one
Okay,
person having a new
I have a
experience.
question.
I just
I have a
feel like
question.
I do
I just
tell
thought
myself
about it.
more so opposite of me.
Do you guys, when you're talking, or do you gals, when you're talking to a guy, um, right, and he's like he's talking to you about something he's really passionate about, do you actually care? Or do you show that you care just because it makes him happy? Or do you actually care what he's talking about?
Mhm.
I feel like it depends if I know what they're talking about. And if I don't know, I'll still be
Wait, it's
respect.
something that you are not interested in though, or that like you don't do.
Okay.
But so do you care like actually about the thing itself, or are you just gonna show that you like, oh, you're gonna give that like, oh yeah, just because like it's something that makes him happy?
I feel like it's a combination of both. Cause like it's not like I'm trying to like get into that just cause like a friend told me about it, you know. But it's also like, you know, if they're really passionate about that, like I'm like, oh, like I feel like that's something like I admire about people is when they have like some sort of passion. So
Mhm.
it's not like I'm just gonna like not care, even if like just cause I don't know it. Like I'll still respect their passion and stuff. But it's not like I'm gonna
Mhm.
take the time to really like research all about it if it's not something that I personally like.
Yeah. You know, I would get your point because, like, obviously you're not gonna like tune them out and be like, yeah, yeah. You're gonna like, listen and like show that you're listening, like asking questions or whatever. But like, if you don't know anything about it, it's like, what more can you like do than just like being like, oh, that's something you're passionate about. So it's like really
Okay,
cool.
yeah. I'm talking to someone that I really like though, and they're like telling me about something that like usually could care less about, but they really seem like happy and interested about it. I'll just go like this. I'll just listen, just 'cause I like them. Like anyone else talking to me about this, like I would just like listen. But because it's them, I think it just makes me go like, because I like you, and like listen because it makes you happy. So then I like, you know.
Mhm.
Um, another one that I had written down was, I don't know if you guys can relate personally. Maybe you can. I don't know. But um, I wanted to talk about especially Asian parents. All right, this
Oof.
might be a little controversial, but I'll get there. Um, I was thinking about like how I see parents in media or just like other people's parents specifically. Actually, I'm not gonna say that. Um, but like quote unquote normal family parents is just like the way that they punish their kids is like telling them what they did wrong and then like giving them something to do to show that like to make sure they don't do it again and then like hopefully they learn their lesson. But I was thinking about why specifically what I noticed Asian parents is you guys okay, I'm not talking to parents in any parent in specific, but why do you guys have to mentally break down your child to get the message through? It kind of annoys me. Like I rather just get beat than like what happens in like those situations where it's like they'll make your kids cry, you'll make your kids freaking like I don't know, have insecurities about themselves that they didn't have before just because like you're upset with what they did and it's like you're kind of ruining their future and like everyone is the way they are because of what they've been through and if you're like traumatized in certain areas or you have certain insecurities, you're gonna like act different around people, and like you're just ruining that for your child's future, it just because of like something small that could be fixed with like a talk. And I just don't get that.
Yeah, had like thoughts about that a lot, and like I always like think like especially like in my household, if like something happens and then I'm like disciplined or something, like obviously like sometimes I'm just like annoyed, but like I don't act out on it, and then I like reflect to myself in my room. I'm just like, was that like necessary, or like was my parents just like, like in the heat of the moment? And I always think about like the way they parent. It's like it's not like something that like I enjoy, and it's not like I could fix that because that's just how they parent. But I always think about like, is there like any experience they had as a child like my age with their own like parents that like caused them to like parent the way that they do, and like if to them it's like seen as like, oh, I'm doing like something good for my child, and they don't even realize that what they do is harmful.
Mm.
So you
There's
say,
an excuse that some parents use that like I dislike, but I can't really like say anything because I don't really know. But they'd be like, well, like what I'm giving you is way easier than what I had when I was a kid. Like you would not last a day in my shoes, like the way that I was raised. And as much as I dislike that, I don't really know if it's true or not because I'm not them. So like I honestly don't know, but it's kind of like discrediting my experience.
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's just like with adapting through, generations. Because obviously there's going to be that like generational difference. And like, they're never going to understand how we do school and like life and just everything in general. And we're not really going to ever understand how they did it. So it's like you can't really like completely empath- empathize with them, just like how they can't completely emph- emph-
Empathize.
empathize
Empathize.
with us. And so yeah, I feel like that's like part of the reason. But you always gotta like, I mean, I don't know if parents do this, but like what Marcel was saying, like you gotta try to look at them. I saw this TikTok yesterday, and it was like talking. Wait, I don't know if it was sent to a group chat or something, but it was like sometimes you forget that like this is your parents' first time doing life too. So
Mhm.
like they've never done this, especially if you're like the first child in your family. Like I mean, personally, I'm only like half first child, but like between my parents, like the two of them together, like how they parent is only the first time for them, for me and my sister. So it's like they're trying to figure it out too. And like I feel like recently I've been trying to like understand people more and just like emph-
Empathize.
empathize with them. Sorry. And just like people in general. So like kind of looking at your parents like, they probably like I don't know if they feel bad necessarily, but they're still human, Like even
Mhm.
though they like are older and like, gave birth to us or whatever, like they're still learning day by day. So like as, as wise and like old as you think your parents might be, like they're just like every day is new to them too. It's just as new as it is for us. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like obviously, things can change because you can like learn to like go through generations and stuff, but you know, you kind of gotta cut them some slack too.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's
Mm.
like you're trying to be that like good like child to them the same way they're trying
Mhm.
to be a good parent to you. And it's
Exactly.
like sometimes like I feel like um sometimes they may not realize that the way that they act towards their child or discipline them or like talk to them, it's like sometimes they don't even realize that it could be harmful.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like I try to like think about that too, even though like it does like hurt, but it's like you also like, and not trying to excuse like behaviors of like parents that like hurt their children
Yeah.
either. But it's like also it's like sometimes like it's not like they choose to be bad all the time. It's just they don't
Uh,
even realize or know any
yeah,
better.
exactly.
Mhm.
Hmm.
But I feel like this might just be me, but like I rather would just be like I rather would just be like whenever my mom or like I get into an argument or something, I'd rather just be like, come on, let's get this over with, like get the belt out or something, rather than leaving the conversation like in tears every time.
Mm.
At some point, like at least like if you get physically hurt, know what's coming, and it's the same thing every time. It's kind of like it might make me a little bit stronger, but the other stuff is like each time is something new, and I don't know like what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I just think though, it's like I feel like a lot of like the way that parents parent, like in terms of like discipline and like let's say like not giving the child like the emotional like attention they need, or like emotionally damaging, physically damaging them. And it's like so many like kids could relate to it, and it's like became so normalized, but it shouldn't be normal. I was just thinking of that.
And
Yeah.
I feel like some parents do use that, and they are just like, oh well, like our generation is just like sensitive, like way so too sensitive compared to us. And in some ways, I do agree with that. But like, come on.
Mm. And like I was just thinking too, like let's say like back then, like um discipline at school, it's like a teacher could like slap like a kid's hand with like a ruler, and like that was seen as normal, and then now it's like seen as like assault or something like that, you know? And like,
Mhm.
and it's like that was like the type of like environment the parents were growing up in. And it's like obviously times have changed, but like since they like, you know, lived in like most likely that time, or around the time where it's like hurting a person as discipline was normal, and it's like still seen throughout, but it's like I don't know, I feel like there's better ways to like go about things now, you know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sorry, I don't know what to say sometimes, but I don't like I don't know. I feel that like what you guys are saying, I can obviously like empathize with you guys, and like I don't know. For me, I feel like my younger self would have a different like a different response to that question. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like now like my relationship with my parents have like grown, and like especially with my mom too, and I feel like that plays a huge part in like learning how they disciplined me and like why they did it like that. So I feel like it's different now just
Mhm.
because of my better relationship with my parents.
Yeah, I think mine has too. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love my mom. I think that's like why in those situations it makes it so hard. It's like I love you, and I'm pretty sure you love me. So like, why are you doing me like this?
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel
I
like
don't think I would do this to you.
hmm, I'm like, I feel like for me it's a little different now that I'm older. Like I feel like when I was younger, they're more like understanding. And, like they're like, oh, it's okay. And then like nowadays, it's like whenever I do something wrong, they're like, oh, I'm disappointed in you, and like they're way more harsh. And I feel like for me, it's like since I'm older, it's like they could like they think like I could take all that.
Honestly, like I'm thinking about it right now, and my parents have never like disciplined me. Like I've never like gotten in trouble, like
Mhm.
ever. Like I think
Dude.
I've been on timeout once when I was 3 years old, but I've never like done anything like wrong. I've never been grounded or anything like. And like
You're lucky.
Wait. What's the worst you guys have gotten in trouble, like with your parents? Like, what did? No, you don't have to say like what you did, but like, what was your punishment? Like the worst punishment you've ever gotten?
Hmm.
literally nothing.
I don't.
Like I'm serious.
I
That's
don't think
lucky.
my family doesn't really like have that system of discipline. Like they just like if like I didn't do something like the way they wanted to, they'll just be like, oh, like lately I've been disappointed and stuff like that. And then like them telling me that makes me be like, oh, maybe I should do this then, so they're not disappointed. But it's not like it got to that point where it's like I don't learn and they have to do something. Like I'm like kind of quick on it, so it's like I don't really have to like deal with like getting grounded and stuff. And they don't really. I don't think they even like ever really grounded me or something, because I don't think to them I don't think it's effective anyways, or that it does anything, whereas telling me that what I do is wrong and then telling me to like do better.
Well, is it worse punishment like emotionally or worse punishment like I guess like fix things? Because like there's like I don't know, there's different forms of punishment that I think would be like worse cuz like I feel like surface stuff like I think the longest I've gotten my phone taken away was like maybe like a month or two,
Damn.
and then um like the emotionally I think maybe like the silent treatment for like that one really hurts me when
I hate
I can't talk to them. I hate the silent treatment. That's like I think only like 2 3 days max was the one I got.
Right. For me, you know when we like went into lockdown or whatever, and like we're starting to like do online school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like at the start of that, like the last day of school, like the last day or two of school before like we went to like lockdown, I didn't go to school cause I was like sick or whatever. And then like all this stuff happened and I got in trouble, right? And they like took away my phone for 6 months and they took away all my clothes and bought me like all new clothes from like the freaking clearance section of fucking Old Navy, and they they like shaved my head and they like couldn't leave my room for like the whole time for like 6 months.
That sounds extreme.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like what's like types of punishments where it's like they take something away from you, or like that doesn't really relate to like the reason why you were punished. It's like, do you really learn from that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't
it
know. I
was-
feel like I don't know. Like I feel like when I get my phone taken away, I don't really
People
like.
don't
It's
like
not
it
like
so
I'm
much
bad,
that.
but like I don't know. Like I feel like I don't really like necessarily like. Well, cause their justification is that like you can't have something that you like because like you did something wrong. I guess that's what I'm saying. But like I feel like when I do get my phone taken away, I don't really do that reflection of like, oh, like what did I do wrong to like do this? I just like let it
Yeah.
happen, and it's like it
Don't
is what
do
it is.
like during that time for me. It still affects me now because like I lost a lot of friends just due to like if you don't talk to someone for 6 months, obviously you're gonna like the relationship is gonna be like bad.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't know. It just uh it felt kind of um like I don't know. It was weird. It was kind of like prison. 'Cause I would like get my dinner and I would like get at my desk and then like I would put it out there and they would take it and like I didn't even talk to them. Like I don't know.
Dang, I don't know. I'm like thinking about it because like I'm trying to think of like the reasons I got like disciplined, and I feel like now that I look back at it, I feel like they were a lot more reasonable than I thought they were like in the moment because like nobody's. I'm not saying that like if you don't get disciplined you're like doing something wrong, but like I feel like there's some times where you just need to get put in your place, and that's when like um it's not like I'm saying like it's okay to get punished, but I think I empathize more with like my parents now that I look back at it because like the whole reason for punishment is so that you learn next time or like so you can do better next time. And I think like now I kind of realize the reasons for it and I find it more reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like one thing that I've always like I guess admired about my parents was the fact that they didn't punish me. You know what I mean? Like I almost see like a difference between me and like my little sister because like I've been very like, independent. Like nobody's really had to tell me to do stuff, And I think that's one thing that like if I ever had a kid too, like I would raise them how I was raised. Because like I was never like told to do anything. I would just do it on my own, And it's still like that. And I've never had anything like taken away or like I mean that's just like luck, I guess, because like it's just myself, in a sense. Like my parents are never like, why'd you get this grade, or like, do you need help, or like what's happening. But like the only person that like I don't want to say punishes me, but like gets mad at me for stuff like that is myself. You know what I mean? Like my
I
parents
f-
aren't like, oh, you have to do the dishes, or like, oh, you have to do like your laundry or clean your room. Like I'll just do that. And like I don't know. I think that's I don't know why it's like that or how this like happened, but then there's like my little sister who I mean she didn't get in trouble more than me, but growing up like she did, and like we just like she'd get like timeouts or like her phone taken and stuff, and I don't know like what the exact difference was, but just something like I guess it was just like I just knew that like I'm doing the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Like they never had to tell me that I was doing the wrong thing. I was just like, okay, don't do that. I
I
just
feel
really don't know. But I think it's also the fact that like my older sister, like she was very like opposite of me. She snuck out. She left home early. Like she did a lot of like secretive things, and I guess like I don't know. I really don't know like what put my parents in this position where they didn't feel the need to like take anything or like
yeah.
I mean like they never like felt the need to punish me. But I'm like happy that it turned out like that. But at the same time, I'm like how did they know that was gonna happen? Like that just seems like a really like 50-50 chance, and it was me.
I feel like Yeah.
So
Have you
I feel
guys
like it's
ever?
just
Oh, sorry.
sorry.
You go. No, go.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I feel like it's just different for everybody because, like, I feel like I was like you to an extent, but I feel like there's stuff that I got in trouble for that most kids don't, or like that, or like, is like different. Cause like I don't want to put examples out there, but like I feel like not saying that like you guys got it easy, but I feel like to an extent, like I was kind of I had it a little harder. Like I can't say it like that, but
No, I
like
know what you mean.
you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Like I'm not trying to compare like anything or like trying to like say it, but like I feel like from like what I hear, I feel like a lot of the stuff I got in trouble for were like more different and more, I guess, like easier to get in trouble for. If you
Mhm.
understand what I'm saying.
And it's not like it's like
I
something you like personally is like that like defines that you're like a good or bad person. Like it truly depends as well as like your parents and like what they believe too and like what they think is like the most reasonable way to like approach a situation too. Cuz like yeah, like um something that like you do maybe similar to like your friends and stuff, but also depends on like the reaction you get from your parents as well. That's what makes it different.
Mm-hmm.
um, that reminded me of something. Like, uh, oh, it's also in mid-90s, the movie, but I also saw someone say, like, if you and everyone that you know got together and threw all their problems at the ground, you probably wouldn't pick up anyone else's after looking at it. And I thought that was interesting, because I think it's kind of true for me. Like, you look at anyone else's closet, like you wouldn't trade your stuff for the stuff that they have.
mhm.
I'm not trying to say like I don't know, lessen anyone's experience, but I feel like that was true for me at least. And I wanted to ask if like after you guys have ever gotten like punished or something happened, have you ever gotten an apology?
I think I have. Yeah.
I don't think my
For like
parents have cuz
arguments,
yeah,
Mm.
not really. Like I don't remember.
cuz then like
Like,
I feel like whenever like I get into like let's say like an argument or I wouldn't really say argument with my parents cuz I don't argue with them just cuz I don't talk to them as much anymore. But it's like when I used to, it's like they don't apologize for what they do because to them they seem like they're in the right.
yeah,
So it's like to them it's like why do I have to apologize for something that I believe I'm doing correct?
yeah,
Is like what I
exactly.
think is going on. Obviously I don't know what's happening, but that's like what I'm thinking since I don't receive that.
Yeah, yeah. It's either that or like they try to like justify it. Like, oh, I said this because you get to do this, so like you shouldn't get to do that. Like
Um,
it's
Do
never like
that's what happens to me. Like sometimes in apology, it'll be like kind of backhanded, where
mhm,
it's like, "Sorry, I raised my voice, but
yeah,
you have to
mhm,
understand where I'm coming from," or like, "But like you can't deny that you were in the wrong," or like, "But whatever," you know.
yeah,
So it's like it's kind of like they're making an effort to put an apology, then like it just goes sideways.
yeah. It's like half. Like it basically just balances it out because you're like trying to make it better, but then you're also like bringing back your old point, which is what started the whole thing in the first place.
Oh, you know what happens sometimes? That's like kind of not related, but like annoys me is like this happens a lot like before like family events or something. I don't know why, but like your parents like get mad at you or you guys get into an argument, but then you have to like do something or go somewhere after and you have to just act like you're a happy normal family, and it's so hard for you to do because it's just like I
No.
just want to, dude, like I just want to cry because I got yelled at, and then you see like, I don't know how parents can do this so well. They like smile and they give you that like, oh,
Yeah.
they give you that customer
No.
service voice.
I
Then-
hate when like that happens and like when you go see like family and they're like, why is your face like that? Like fix your face, or like, cause I literally just got like freaking like yelled at. Like
And then
I don't
the thing is,
understand. Like
sometimes they also like talk to like your relatives like in like a good light. Be like, oh, like they're all, like doing this
I
and
know,
that.
like-
Like they're such a good kid. I'm just like, huh?
And then you're
bro, didn't you just like whatever? Like I don't understand. Like
It's the
can't, like-
flex. It's the flex, low key. I think.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
look how good my kid is.
No, like when my parents do that, like it doesn't bother me, but in a sense it does. Because like I noticed my dad does that. Like we used to go to these dinners with like one of his coworkers, and he would always like talk about me and my sister. And it's like it's nice to hear the praise, but at the same time it's like you don't really
In those situations, for me, it's like maybe those things are a little bit of an ego boost, but it doesn't help because right before you made my self-esteem like 0.
Yeah.
So that little bit of ego boost did nothing afterward.
Mhm.
Like you chew me out for like 30 minutes to an hour, but then you give me like 3 minutes of like, yeah, he's such a good kid. He like does good in school. He like does this with his friends, whatever. Like that does nothing for me.
I just hate those things where like you have to go to like a party or whatever and like you can see like you're hella down and stuff and then they're like, why don't you be happy, put like a like like fix your face, fix your attitude. Like there's a whole reason why I'm like that, and sometimes they just are like, I don't know.
No, but it's so much worse when they like randomly bring it up again when you're like at the because that'll happen. Like we're fine for like a quick minute, like in the car, fine. We get there is fine, and then randomly it just comes back. Like why? Like we were literally like cool for a second, and they're like, "Oh yeah, just that's why I said that." Like, thank you.
It's hella goofy.
Or have you ever done like got into an argument or something before the party, and then like the party goes fine or whatever, and then the car ride back, you also it's just like a continuation.
Guys,
Wait,
Dude,
Like,
whose
when
mic
you
is
like-
like?
somebody's mic was like bad. What was
Wait,
that?
it's good now. It's good now. It's quiet.
So
Huh?
it's probably me.
Oh.
Wait, were you like moving something?
No, but like I was saying, like have you ever gotten into an argument beforehand? Then you go to the party or whatever, and on the way back, that car ride back, it just like resumes again.
Yeah, it just like
Yeah.
comes back. It's like I thought we were
That's so
fine.
annoying, bruh.
No, but it's like
Oh.
worse when you like say like, "Oh yeah, that's fine." Like you just end up agreeing with them, and they're still trying to justify their point. Like I agreed with you. I'm ending it. I'm like trying to be a bigger person.
Bro, no. What happens to me is, okay, like, I'll get frustrated, and I, like, will get to the point where I want to walk away, so I'll just, like, start agreeing, and I'll be like, yeah, whatever, like, I'm sorry, I was in the wrong, like, I shouldn't have done, like, so-and-so, right? Then they get even more mad, because they're like, well, you can't just, give up now, like, why made you change your mind? And I'm just like, sometimes I just want to say, because I don't want to talk to you right now, I just want to get this over with.
Yeah. Or they're like mean that you're mad, and they're like, so now you're mad, and now you're gonna, and then it's just like so. I'm just trying to like end this.
But yeah, I am kind of mad.
Rest of the day, like, come on.
No, I just think I hate that thing, like with the family stuff, because, I just hate, it's, it feels so fake, and I hate it, like, just, I don't know, sometimes, normally, like, you have something going on where you're, like, kind of sad or whatever, you can go somewhere, like, hang out with friends or whatever, and you can kind of, like, cover it up, and, like, they won't know. But like in those situations, it's different. Like my mood is actually so bad, and it just feels so fake to like cover it up, and I like it's so hard for me too.
Yeah. Or you see them like talking to other family members and they're all happy, but you're
Yeah.
still sitting there like, and you have to deal with that. And it's just like,
I don't know why. It's like I can't really relate to like arguments and like going to parties much because I feel like I avoid having an argument with like especially my mom. I don't really talk to my dad as much, but like with my mom, it's like I kind of like know how she is like, so it's like I know like if she like tells me something, even if I don't agree with it, I'm just gonna like let it slide and not care because I don't want to deal with arguing. Like I kind of like avoid it. It's like I don't really know like the last time I've ever really been in like a big argument with my mom. And it's like I don't know if that's better or if like I should have like let out whatever I wanted to let out and not let her walk all over me, you know.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's hard to avoid arguments sometimes because like sometimes, like I feel like this goes with more hanging out. Like usually my parents are like really nonchalant and like they'll be like, yeah, just as long as I have everything done and I don't have anything to do. But like sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, you gotta be home like now." Like,
Okay, wait.
like I noticed that so much. Like recently, he's just been like getting mad at me for coming home late and stuff, and it's not even that late. Like I've been home later, and it's just like, how am I supposed to avoid that argument when you were literally fine with it like 2 weeks ago, but now all of a sudden like this is a big thing.
Okay, one said like for the party example, flip it, and if you were the parent, would you rather it? They said, would you rather it just continue at the party?
Mm-hmm.
I rather just not go to the party in general at that
Yeah.
point.
Like I guess I'd try to like end it if I was the parent. I try to end it before party like starts.
Even if I was a parent and I tried to and I ended it before the party started, I still know that it's gonna affect, like you're still gonna be in a bad mood regardless if it ends right before the party starts or like 30 minutes before or whatever. But I think like if I was the parent, yeah, it's kind of like rude or like seen as disrespectful, I guess, if you're like all sad or like seem all like upset at a family party. But like I would kind of just be like, I don't know, like you don't have to act like you don't have to put on like a mask or like act fake.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um. Okay. Uh. Okay, let me see what else I have. Uh. We can do. I don't know. Does anyone else have anything before like I try to find something?
I'm never prepared for these. I just go with what you guys have to like bring.
No, I feel like you just go with it.
Okay, kind of like back to the parent thing. What is like, okay, I know like not all of us like want the future, but like if there's something you could like bring as yourself, like if you're a parent yourself, like what would it be? Like that your parents did? Like I guess something you liked or you thought was pretty effective.
I honestly can't see myself as a parent, so I don't know.
Okay, well
Or are
then
you just saying something that I like about my parents' parenting style?
yeah, you can say that.
Um. I think for me, I would probably keep where I like, um, this is kind of hard. I
don't-
think for me, it's probably like, um, honestly, I honestly don't know.
I'm trying to
Probably
think.
just like, I know this is like a weird question because now all I can think is the stuff that I would take away and not keep.
Cause like sometimes it's like if I were to like say like oh I do this, but like even if I say it, like there are moments where like they contradict that. So it's not like there's something that they do that's always consistent. Like they always switch up. So I can't really like I'm trying to like pinpoint something. Honestly, wait, something I
Actually,
bring is like the way that we still have meals together and like they encourage to
Yeah.
eat together. Cause I realize like, or sometimes I don't even realize that a lot of other households, it's like their families are like so separate and it's like they don't ever like have a conversation at the dinner table where like they're all seated together. Where it's like for me, like pretty much like every day, at least dinner is like that time when like we're together, and I want to keep that like with me because like I remember like talking to like other people and they're like oh like we're talking about like love languages and like ASV, and then I was like you know like quality time and like kind of like have dinners like with my family, and then I didn't realize that like not everyone experiences that.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
find it kind of crazy how like a lot of people don't eat with their families because I feel like it like for me that was like just so normal and
Yeah,
natural,
it
and
was
like
so normal.
when people tell me that they don't have dinner with their families, I'm like, whoa, like for real? Like, what do you guys do? Just like take your food to go to your room? Like, do you guys ever talk to each
think
other after that?
for me, cause I have usually we'll all eat dinner together, but there is days where there have been times where it was just like periods where we don't, and for those times it's not necessarily like everyone just takes it and goes to their own place or whatever. It's usually like if someone is like makes usually is the person that makes dinner, like they'll make it and they'll leave it there and maybe they'll get their bowl and eat it and then like everyone will just get it at different times and it's not like hey dinner's ready get it and then like do your own thing. It's usually just like whenever on everyone's individual schedules.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like the eating dinner thing and like just traditions that my parents do, like, you know, I feel like my parents kept me and my sister like kids for a long time. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Mm.
they never like that sounds weird. How do I like phrase this? Like no, we had like toys in our room for a long time. Not right now. you know, but like, you know, and they have those like Christmas traditions and stuff. Like they'll decorate the house and like, you know, there's just some things that like we do every year. Like I think especially like since me and my sister started doing that, or like when my sister started with me, you know, we just got like super busy, and especially during like the holidays. But you know, there's stuff that like we never like changed throughout all these years, and you know, we'll still go camping every summer and stuff like that. Like I really like that they did that because they never like, you know, like said, oh, you know, we're super busy this year, so let's like not. It's always been consistent, and like I feel like that's just like permanent memories I have with my parents. And yeah,
Mm.
I don't know.
I think thing that I would keep my parents do is probably my parents talk to me a lot about like um well I'm pretty sure like a lot of parents do this where it's like they talk about like your future a lot. My parents like talk with me a lot about like um financial stuff. Like I appreciate that because I feel like in school like you don't really learn that a lot. So
Mm,
uh,
that's a good point.
Mm.
I feel like for me, something that I would keep is just like the openness and like of a relationship and having that person to like talk to, because like when I do have kids, I want them to feel like they can come to me and talk to me about whatever, like without any hesitation. And I feel like I have that with my parents now.
Yeah.
I feel like I say I want that, and I'm pretty sure that like my parents don't have a problem with that either. Like would want that. I don't know what's stopping me. Like openness seems cool, but like I don't know. I don't think I can get around like some things that like just don't talk to my parents about, or like some things that are just like oh I that's like kind of weird. Like I feel weird talking to my parents about that.
Mhm.
Like I don't know.
I think it also just like depends on like the parent as well, because like you're obviously not gonna show like, I guess, like commitment to somebody if they don't show it back. So like I think like with my me and my parents, like the energy is like reciprocated. Like when I want to talk to them, they'll want to talk to me. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
I think that's what's like makes it different, because like, you know, obviously a lot of kids want that openness with their parents, but sometimes it's the parents that are very closed off and don't really want to. So I feel like it starts with the parents more so than it starts with your kids.
Hmm. I
Definitely.
think sorry, I forgot what I was gonna say. But like I don't know. I used to appreciate this, but now like I don't know how I feel about it. Where it's like whenever I do want to just have a conversation with them, just like talk to them, I feel like now it always has to end up being like a life lesson or like something that I have to take away from it. And sometimes like that can just get tiring. Like I just want to like have a conversation and not have it be like super like have to take away this meaningful like life lesson from it. Yeah, kind of tiring. Like I just want to talk like about something.
Mm. Yeah, I was like thinking back to the question, and it's like I feel like openness is like not something that my parents, have, but it is something I want to take, like incorporate if I become a parent. Like even if my parents never taught me to be open, that's something I want to experience like with my child, since I didn't get that myself.
I don't know. Like, I feel like that's one of the reasons I like don't want kids or like am scared to have kids because I don't want to like mess up. You know what I mean? Because like it really like everything you do as a parent is gonna have some impact on your kid. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
whether that's positive or negative. Like, I don't know. I just don't think I could like do that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I don't know. I mean,
I
I
I
think
feel
I
like
disagree, but
looking at it, it's like there's a lot of people who are just like broken and like don't have their stuff together 100%. So it's like, how are you gonna raise a child to be like a good human being if you're not even like ideal person you would want to be yourself?
yeah,
Like,
actually,
I think for me, like a reason I don't see myself being a parent, just because like I don't know, like I don't want my flaws to have an impact on someone else.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And like, and if my child does bad or does something that I don't agree with, like, um, oh, at the end of the day, I raised them, so it's kind of my fault they did that or whatever. I don't think I like would want to live with that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I just hope that like if I ever become a parent, because obviously like parenting is like a whole learning experience. It's not like you could really be like I'm gonna do this and that, because like you never know like if like the way you parent will be like the best way for your kid. Like the whole like thing about parenting is that like you never know like or like truly know how to parent because like there's going to be so many life experiences that you'll face and your child will face that you have to like try to like respond by, and like obviously sometimes it won't be the best response, but I hope that like if I become a parent, at least if I ever like do something that unintentionally harms my child, at least like I hope to be conscious of it and be able to own up to it than pretend I'm always in the right.
And I think also it's like, um, I don't, I don't know. In a way, I'm like kind of selfish, where it's just like I also just want a kid. I don't want a kid because I want to live my life and have like do the stuff that I want to do. And it's like if I want to go like pursue dreams in a career that doesn't really seem like I'll make it, so I have to like put in a bunch of extra hours. The kid takes away a lot of time for that. Or if I want to go and travel and see the world, the kid takes away from a lot of that. And if I want to be like super rich and make a lot of money, like kids are expensive. So
yeah.
there's just like a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
I
like
don't know.
having a kid
Like,
isn't for everyone. Being a parent isn't for everyone. Like it just depends.
that's what like scares me though. Like, I mean, now obviously I'm like 16, so you know, like right now, I don't see myself like having a kid. I mean, not right now. I mean, like in the future. I
Mhm.
I don't see myself in the future having a kid. But like then I'm scared that like I'll regret that, you know? Like I'll be like 70 years old and like or like not 70, like I'll be like 90 years old on my deathbed and I'll be like, dang, I wish I had like a family. And I'm not saying like not having kids is a family, but you know, I guess I'd just be like scared to like feel like I'm missing out on that aspect. But at the
Mm.
same time, like, is that really worth like having a kid just so I can have somebody next to me on my deathbed? Like, I don't know,
Mm.
that just seems selfish too, you know? I
I
don't
wouldn't
know.
want to put a kid through that too, because going through like a death is hard.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Like,
Mm.
it's just, I just really don't see it like happening. Plus,
Like
I don't
I
like birth a kid either.
yo, like I like would want to be a really cool uncle, like something like that. But going home with that thing and like having to take care of it for the rest of its life till it's like 18 or whatever. Yeah, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah,
Mm.
just there's so much.
I can barely take care of myself. God damn it.
Yeah, if
I
anything,
don't
I'd
know.
be the cool aunt.
I feel like I don't know. For me, I think a lot of the part that like I want somebody to carry on my legacy is kind of why I consider it. Just because like I don't know, it's hard to explain, but like I just want somebody to continue on like I guess like myself or like my family name. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think that's like part of the reason why like I do want to be a mom someday. But
Mm-hmm.
Mm. I think for me, I get that, and I think I used to agree with that. Now, I feel like the way I think is like if I can be the best person or work towards being the best person that I can be, and then a good impact on the people that I meet and the people that I become close with, then even after I die, hopefully that will still live on. Like I want people like oh yeah, like he was a good guy or whatever, or like you know, because I feel like having a kid is kind of just like they carry on like your name or whatever. It's kind of like carrying on like who you were as a person. Now if I can just like have like an impact on the people that I meet throughout my life, then I think that I will like do the same thing for me.
Hmm.
I feel like the topic's hard to talk about right now.
Mm?
Like,
yeah.
I just
Yeah.
really don't see it, and it's not just social stuff, but like not to be that person, but this world doesn't need more kids. Like, I don't know.
Overpopulation.
Overpopulation.
It sounds bad, but like it's almost like selfish in a sense. Like, oh, I want to have like 10 kids. Like, why? I
Yeah.
never understood that. Like, okay, you want to like make a huge to you, but I don't know. I just like maybe like one, but I don't even want that. Like, that's so sad. Like,
I feel
I
like
don't
we're
know.
still like really immature to like already make big decisions
Yeah,
about
like
our
this.
life like this, you know? Because like obviously it's gonna change in the future, or your views are gonna like change, and I don't think like you can be really set on something right now with anything in life, not just like with kids and stuff, but I feel like nothing is really like you really know what you want right now.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of disagree with that.
Like what do you like what do
Well,
you disagree
not
with?
with the kids, not with the kids thing. Um, but like how you said, like anything in life, like we can't be sure because we're at that like level of immaturity. I disagree. Like I look at a lot of people who, like in the public's eyes, are deemed as successful people, and like maybe you can as like a Kobe Bryant or a LeBron James or like certain artists, right? They've had like that passion of theirs and that's what they wanted to do since they're like little kids, right? Like if that's what they know they were gonna do, like since they were like 11 or 13 or whatever, like they did it. So it's like they knew what they wanted and they achieved it. I feel like me personally, I'm not saying I'm gonna do that because I don't think I will, but like there's things now, and maybe I'm wrong, but there's things now and ideas now that I have that I don't think will change even if I do get older.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I can see like what you're saying, because like, you know, we can't be like Dove is like immature forever, you know? Like some things just
Yeah.
don't change. Like I don't know. I kind of hate hearing like, oh, like I don't know. Maybe it's just my parents, but like they're always like, oh, you say you want to do this now, but you're not gonna want to do that. Like when you go to college and all this stuff. And like I'm not like 10 years old, you know? Like my brain isn't like fully developed or whatever, but it's not like I'm self-aware, you know, and I'm aware of the world too, more than I was when I was like younger, you know. So like
Yeah.
some things, like I know like being a parent and stuff specifically, like when you get older and like maybe find like the right partner or whatever, your views can change, but like I know I have a general idea what I want my life to look like, and like I don't
Mm.
think that's gonna like
I
have a
feel like
huge change from now to like 10 years from now.
part of the reason I think like that is because I also don't want to use that as an excuse. Like, I feel like if I were to use like, oh, I'm too young to know what I want, or like I'm too immature to like know that like I want this for the rest of my life, like for sure, and I use that as an excuse, I feel like that's gonna give me a reason to be like not put 100% effort into anything, because it's like, oh, I'm still young, like I have time, right? But in reality, like, I don't have that much time. Like, if I start now, then I can achieve my goals sooner and then, like, live happier in the future. So, like, if I do believe everything that, like, I want to achieve now, then, like, I don't know. I feel like using that as an excuse for me is kind of like, I'll use it as an excuse until I'm old enough where I can't, and I don't know what I want to do, and then I'm low-key just like stuck, and it's like I put it off for so long that like now like what am I gonna do, and then I'll be like screwed.
Yeah. And I feel like that excuse can almost be hypocritical, because like we can call ourselves like immature, but at the same time, like I was just thinking today at work, like I have like a real adult job, and like if I was so quote unquote immature, like I don't think I would be trusted with this kind of stuff, Like sometimes I just get like a reality check, like, this is real life. Like I don't have the excuse, like, oh, like she's young, like she didn't, like, there's no more of that. Like now, just in general, I think it's like if you're not doing something correctly, you don't have the excuse of being young, or like you didn't know any better. That's not an excuse anymore. So I don't think it should be an excuse for like life in general. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
I'm like on both sides, as in um, like what you guys are saying, like even though life is changing, like there are like certain like passions or like things that you're already like set in stone with, and like you firmly believe that like no matter what it won't change. And like there's also like other people that like they might have like the same belief as you, and then like something happens in their life that like totally changes like their whole pathway. And like I still believe that like nothing is for certain though, because like there's gonna be a lot of like things that you think of now that like is gonna like change in the, or it's not gonna, but it could change in the future based off like certain experiences that are like inevitable.
I don't think like I'm saying that like like it's going to, or like like for sure like what you want, but I'm just like saying that like change obviously is gonna happen, and that's like the only way you can grow. But like when you're like comparing it to like people that like already knew what their careers were gonna be like, I think you were saying like LeBron or like Kobe and stuff, and like they kind of knew at their young age like they wanted to do that. I honestly don't really necessarily think that they knew for sure, because like maybe they had that like idea in their mindset, but I'm pretty sure there were like minor changes that would happen, and it's not the exact thing that they were like kind of thinking of it's gonna happen. It's just because like, you know, like, I'm not saying we're immature, but we're definitely too young to call stuff and like say that that what's gonna happen is gonna be like for sure. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
and it doesn't have to
So
be like
yeah.
decisions on everything. And like there's gonna be certain decisions where it is most likely gonna stay that way like your whole life. And there's gonna be like dreams that you have that will stay like your whole life and you will be able to achieve. But it's not like that's something for everyone too.
Maybe I say that because, like, I feel like if you have a dream or you have something that you want to do, and that's really what you want to do in the future, but you're still young, if it's almost kind of like I'm a believer in fake it till you make it. So even if you have doubts in your mind like, oh, I'm not good enough at this thing, if you actually commit yourself and dedicate yourself to what you want to do and believe that it's what you're going to do forever, I honestly believe that like if you work hard enough at it, then it will happen. So maybe that's why I think like that, where it's just like, you know, I don't
Yeah.
know.
And that is so true.
Yeah.
Like there's gonna be experiences where it's like it either changes your mind or it makes you like have that like stronger belief in what you want. So like there's no like set thing. Like it's not like it's like a fix like whether like at a certain age you're mature or not and like at a certain age you already decide what you want and it's gonna happen because like it could happen and it could not. Like it really depends. Yes,
Okay,
Sophia?
I have this question. Or does everybody finish up on like their ideas? Because like my mom sent me a question that she wants me to ask.
No, I'm done.
Okay. um, she was like asking. It kind of ties into this, but like, do you think like when you are born, you're like the universe already has like your purpose in life, or do you think you have the choice to make your own?
Feel like for
Mm,
me, I'm trying to think.
Because I don't know, like when I think about it, I just like I know this kind of contradicts what I said, like about like not knowing for sure, but I feel like there is that path that's already carved out for you when you are born. Like I feel like yeah, you can like make decisions, but at the end of the day, you're always gonna stay on that same path, and I feel like yeah, like you're already at the same path. You can think you're making decisions, but it's really just like things that are going to lead you to like your purpose.
mm,
So
I
yeah,
I feel like um maybe there's something where it's like you have a path at birth, but then once you gain a conscience and like once you start learning stuff, I feel like you can break free from it and like do stuff that like different from that original path. But maybe that's just because this thought of not having any free will or autonomy scares me, where it's like kind of like what's the point if I'm born and the universe already has a set path for me? Like why does any of the decisions that I make matter? Like because I'm gonna have this end goal eventually. But also like if everyone is born with the set path, then why are there some people who just have like really bad paths?
Hmm.
I think like everything does happen for a reason. Like, you know, eventually things will play out. But I don't think there's like something like that just doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? Like what does that mean? The universe has a plan for you, you know? Like, I just
When
don't.
you're born, your whole life is already set out for you.
Yeah, no, I get that, but I'm saying like, I just don't understand like, not how that would be possible, but it's just like, it's just weird to me because like I guess it's also the whole thing. If there's already a path, like, why do anything, you know? And
That's
like,
what I'm. Yeah.
it just doesn't make sense. Like, I don't like thinking that far into the universe and philosophy and all that because then it makes me think like, why do anything? You know, I just don't get it.
I'm not big on that astrology stuff.
I just don't get the whole idea of. Does that make sense? I
Yeah.
don't know. So, I guess I just don't understand personally.
And I feel
And I
like
think
it's so hard for me to answer. Like, I'm more lean towards choice, though. Because it's, like, obviously, like, I don't know. Because it's, like, yeah, like, as you said, like, what is a path? And it's, like, you'll never know unless you, like, make certain choices.
so. Like,
Yeah.
if you're born and you already have a set path, makes sense to me. Is like it's kind of the question of some people have like, if there is a God, then why do people suffer? Like, why aren't there bad people and like stuff like that? Like, if you're born and the universe already has a path set out for you, and like, why are there some people whose paths are just like terrible and they have like the worst life, or their paths are like they're the worst person to ever exist?
Mm,
It's like, why would you do? Why? What's the point in making that path?
yeah, but then that kind of places. Why would bad things even happen to anybody? Like, why does anybody have problems in the first? I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't know.
My
I
brain
think the
is like,
I think the scarier option is definitely that we already have a path. 'Cause then basically nothing that we do matters. Because if I already have a path right now, and I'd say everything that I love, all my passions, I'm gonna give up on them. It won't matter because at the end of the day, like, my path is set out for me, and I'm gonna eventually end up doing what the universe planned for me to do, and it doesn't matter anyway. So I think that's scary. And knowing that like the choices that I make are actually my choices.
Yeah.
I don't know.
but like, I don't think the question is like, since there's a path, I'm not gonna do anything. Like, doing something is part of it.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's what I like try to say too. Kind of like
If
it's not like
doing something is part of the path, I mean that if by choosing not do something is you doing something, and you're that thing is choosing not to do anything.
well,
My
if you're
brain
choosing not
is
to
like,
do anything, then you're still at that. I don't know. Like I'm trying to I'm trying to explain
using a
how I
flow.
understand things, but it's kind of hard. Like I don't know. Like whenever you do have a decision, that path is gonna lead you to make that correct decision. Like I don't know how to explain it even more, but like I don't know. Like there's it's like not I'm not saying like I'm not sorry. I'm not saying like there's just like choices you have to make, but I feel like the choices that you do make are in the back of like your mind are always gonna be for that path. Like it's really hard to explain. And when I listen to myself, it's kind of like difficult to understand, but
Yeah, I mean, like, in the
So
end,
do you believe
like,
that any choice that you're faced with where you have to make a decision between like things or multiple things, regardless of what answer you choose, you are gonna stay on that same path. Like, there's nothing you can do to like go off of it.
I feel like the path is always
Wait, what was the
changing.
question?
Like, if you have to make a decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
You already have a path set out for you, so no decision that you make actually matters. But let's say you have to choose between certain things. No matter what you choose, you think that you're still going to be on that same path? Or can you do something to change your path?
I don't know. I still think like whatever you do, you're still gonna be on that same one.
Valid. Because I think what I believe is, like, everyone is born, no path, no nothing, and whatever you choose to make of yourself is up to you, right? And it's up to you. And if you really set your eyes on something, you can do it.
Okay, wait. So like, okay, here's why I'm kind of leaning towards the no path thing, because it's just like an example. Like, say there's somebody who goes to like, they've been like, super like, what's the word? Like I guess well behaved their whole life. Like they went to like private school, K through 12, and they went to Harvard. They're like a doctor. They got their PhD. Like they work at Stanford Hospital, and they're just like amazing, right? And then all straight, they kill like 20 people. Like they drown them. Just terrible
Okay,
stuff.
that's a lot of detail.
Listen. They have like a whole family too. You know, they're a doctor. Remember that. And they have like, I don't know, a wife and kids, right? They have a dog. Like they live in this perfect neighborhood.
I don't think we need to know every single
Yeah,
thing.
just whatever. I'm just saying, like that's the path they created for themselves. They like, you know, they went to medical school. They're a doctor, and then all of a sudden they kill people. Like that's not a path. Like what is that? That's not.
So their path is to
Now they're in jail forever.
murder.
Like, they were a doctor.
But it's not like we're saying that the path is always gonna end up good, though, right?
But that's
I
just,
don't believe in all this. I don't believe in all this universe astrology crystal
it just doesn't make
stuff.
sense. Like, be for real. You're gonna be a doctor and have this great family, and then all of a sudden you're in jail. Like, what kind of path is that? I mean, I'm not saying it's true, but just come on. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, this is kind of not related, but like, it's kind of not related, but like, if you let what your freaking tarot cards and like crystals, if you let that every decision you make in life, oh my, like, I'm not trying to get into any arguments with anyone or make anyone mad, but like, that kind of annoys me. Like, oh, this person is this star sign and I'm this star sign, which means we can't be friends. I can't talk to them. Ew, you're a Leo? Like, get out of my face. We're not compatible. Like, bro, what the heck?
I believe in it,
I
but
don't know.
I don't think it should dictate every single choice. Like, obviously, it has influence, but I don't think.
I don't know.
Can...
I'm kind of like into all that, but I feel like people really like misunderstand it because like what people are like saying is like they're only basing it off of like one thing, like which is essentially like what their sun sign is, which depends on when you're born. And I feel like there's a lot of like there's a deeper meaning to it. Like I'm not saying that I'm making it like my whole personality, but there's a lot of things that I think that like a lot of people don't really understand.
Okay, here's where it's like Um, like, if you're like, not be related, but like, if you're like, oh, my reading told me I have to end my friendship with this person who I've been friends with for like 8 years, or like my reading told me I have to break up with my boyfriend, or like I had a dream where my boyfriend cheated on me, so now I have to break up with him. It's just like, dude, you're really gonna freaking let those things like actually control you? Like, oh, but dreams mean something, or but my reading is telling me like it has to be true. It's the universe talking to me. Like,
I think
get
people
out of
that
here, dude. Get out of here.
I
Like,
think
what are you on about? Like,
I think people that are like that are using those tools for the wrong purpose. Cuz I don't think that they should let the like the answers like affect their lives, but I feel like it should be more like kind of like messages that you keep, or like not really like letting it affect your decisions, but more so kind of like think about it more intuitively, if I'm making sense. But I agree. Some astrology girls are like wild, bruh. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
had
don't know
a
much
dream
about it.
where my best friend said something really mean about my mom, so now I can't be friends with her in real life anymore.
Okay, wait.
Who do you think you are?
I think dreams. I mean, you know that whole multiverse theory and stuff. Like that's kind of like creepy. But I had this wild dream, and I'm not gonna go into detail about it. But let's just say like when I woke up, like it felt like I never fell asleep. Like it was just really real, and I don't know, like that was
Wait,
creepy.
Leona, are you talking about that one dream?
Yeah,
Are you talking about that one dream?
yeah. Well, just
Oh,
my
okay.
dreams in general, like sometimes they'll feel like really realistic, and that like creeps me out. But then I always think about that multiverse theory, and I was telling Marcel this yesterday, and like I had these two dreams in a row, and I swear they were connected. Like it was the same plot, or not plot. It was the same like storyline. Like it was just like I was at school like a normal day, and everything in the dream was really normal. And then the next day, like a lot of the stuff could have happened. Like I had this one dream where I was late to class, and the next day I was almost late to class. And it was, and like I don't think it meant anything.
Oh wow,
Huh?
that's so
No,
cool.
no, listen. But like dreams are like creepy. I don't know.
I always
It's just
like have
weird.
so
Like
many questions about dreams. It's like, is it like something I think of, or like is it something that is like a reminder of the past, or is it like something like a sign from the future?
Well, like dreams are based like
But
dream about something that you don't know, because obviously you don't know it, so how are you gonna be able to think about it? So you dream stuff that like is familiar, or like that you're aware of. So it's like obviously you're gonna dream of, there's gonna be scenarios in your dreams that seem similar to stuff that happens in your actual life, because like
yeah,
what's in your dreams are just like your mind making up stuff that it knows, which is like stuff that you've experienced. But like, I don't know, basing like your decisions off that is kind of
no, that's
wild.
that's kind of wild.
do
But
you think like
also,
you
it's
could
like your
control?
subconscious too.
Like my dream is coming true. Yeah, your dreams are stuff that it's like possible in your real life. So yeah, it could happen maybe.
I don't know. It's just like weird to me sometimes. Because like sometimes the dreams are just like so like like I'm actually there. Like I know it's not like the future that dictate my decisions, but isn't it also like your subconscious thinking, you know? Like so to an extent, like I don't know how to say it. But I don't think dreams, I mean dreams aren't fake. Obviously we have them. I just don't understand the concept. I think there's just a lot of things I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But
Anyways.
yeah, astrology girls are crazy.
I'm not saying I'm a
All of them, most of them, not all of them, most of them.
I'm not an astrology girl, but I will say I am very spiritual. Mhm.
Mm,
So, anyways, did you guys have any other topic?
Nope.
Or
I
good
feel
on
like
you?
that goes against what I believe. Like,
Wait, what?
Alright.
Sorry.
sorry, I was just thinking, like, uh, I don't think that like, there are people who are like religious and like who are like Christian or whatever and still like do all that stuff, but I think that kind of uh, I don't see how you can do both. Because if you're letting an astrology dictate like or like readings or whatever like tell you do or like what's happening, doesn't that like contradict what like if you believe that like God has a plan for you or whatever, like doesn't that kind of like go against that?
Mm,
Mm,
Good for
I
you.
don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like,
Because like
I'm
as
just
that you're supposed to believe in God and God only, because like He is like one true power. So like if you put your beliefs in like um spiritual stuff into like other things, I don't think that's something He would agree with very much.
I
The
feel like
benevolent
Yeah.
God.
I feel like for me, there are things that I like don't believe like spiritually just cause I've like lived around like religion like all my life. It's like for me it just feels wrong to believe that after being like learned something else. But it's not like I'm like dismissing that those that believe in spiritual stuff doesn't exist. Like I don't believe it, but it could still be, you know, still there.
I think like for me personally, I'm just not a very religious person in general, and I think I'm more spiritual than I am religious. If
Mm.
that, I don't know. I feel like it's just like different with me, just because I wasn't raised like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think I was just raised like, I think I said this before. My dad was raised like super Christian, like they had a church. My grandpa was like pastor, whatever you call that. And then like I don't know, but when he like came to America, he didn't really go to church or anything. I would like go like pray and stuff, like read the Bible, but like I don't know, religion and spiritual stuff was never like in my household. So I don't know. I guess I just like I know there's something bigger like than us, obviously, but I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
it
know.
just really
Sorry,
depends
I don't know
on
why I'm
like
talking.
what you believe.
you went so
Like-
slow. You're like, I don't know.
Like you could
I-
believe in gods, you could believe in like the universe stuff, you could believe in astrology, or you could believe in nothing and just think
Yeah,
based on science.
I
Yeah.
think
I
for
think
me, like I usually tell people like I'm religious or whatever, cause just like that's how I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I don't know. I do. There is still stuff that like I think religion teaches you that I think is good, and I feel like with the universe stuff and like spiritual stuff and like religion, the part that I don't really like is the fact that like I'm not fully in control of my own life. I kind of want to be. Where it's like, I want to know that like everything I do, it's like my decision, and if it goes bad, that's my consequence I have to deal with. And like, it's just that simple. There's no like deeper meaning behind it or nothing.
I was talking to my mom about it like the other day, and she was like telling me that like, all these different religions and like the universe and stuff, like she was just like saying like we all essentially are believing in one thing because like we are all like kind of like believing that there's this, I guess, this power or like, like up there, and like it's just like defining your religion is just like the way you interpret that thing, but in the end, at the end of the day, like we all have or believe the same thing with that, and that's what she was like saying.
I saw something where, like, if you believe in God, by believing in God, it makes you want to do better and makes you like change your actions and like makes you a good person. Whether God is real or not doesn't matter because the idea of him makes him real, because the effect is still the same. Whether he's real or not, if he's real, he's telling you to be a good person and making you a good person. If he's not real, the idea of him is telling you the same thing. So the end result is still the same. So it doesn't really matter whether he's real or not. The idea of him makes him like kind of real.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Alright. I think this was a good episode.
Yeah.
It's a hella deep episode, bruh.
Yeah. Good talk,
Alright.
guys.
We're gonna end it here.
Drop a
Okay.
follow.
Yes, drop a follow. Bye.
Wait,
Thank you all.
before we end, I want to start doing something where make it and put it in the YouTube descriptions or whatever. But I want to make a form where people can fill out hot takes or stuff like that, so we can just have people fill those out. Anyways, thanks.
Thank you guys for watching. We
Thanks for
appreciate
the
it.
support.
Yes. Bye bye.